Listen a little, if you like, to a tale concerning a beloved troop of old, a lay of Grania, of Finn the bold, and Diarmid, the tragic son of Divna. Some of you may know of our hero, Finn MacCool, strong and brave, or of his fearsome men, the Fian, his band of hardy warriors. Some of you may know of his beloved, fairest and wisest Grania, the finest amongst all folk of Scotland and Ireland. A woman of such beauty and renown would surely be the object of many a lover's pining, but fairest Grania was sworn to Finn, and Finn only. Such was the cause of Diarmid's anger, for he loved Grania with all his heart. Imagine his frustration to see her betrothed to his mortal enemy. Finn was no stranger to Diarmid's desires, and though it bothered him little, soon enough he devised a way to put an end to Diarmid's pining. It was in Glen Shee, where sweet is the voice of the deer and the blackbirds, where often were Finn and his men hunting with their hounds. They knew that up on the mountain slumbered a great evil boar, with tusks the size of sabres, a coat of thick pointed bristles that could pierce any boot. No weapon amongst folk could pierce the skin of this feared beast, none but that possessed by Finn, his great spear, the Guy Bulliga. Finn sent a messenger to Diarmid to tell him of his plan, to wake the beast and slay it. Whichever of them killed the beast would then have the heart of Grania. Diarmid's men sensed a trap and begged him not to go. But Diarmid, son of Divna, shrugged and picked up his mighty spear. Happily he went to the glen, spear in hand, just as Finn and his men roused the mighty boar, and Glen Shee echoed with its mighty roar. Finn's men stood guard as Diarmid ran to meet the boar, and he thrust the spear towards the beast, but no luck. It shattered in three, each fragment of metal shattering to the floor. It was now that Finn pressed forward, his hounds barking and the boar roaring. He picked up his spear, the Guy Bulliga, and tossed it to the boar. Once it struck the wild pig, it let out a screech and fell to the floor. Finn retrieved his spear, carefully so as to avoid its razor-like bristles. "So, Diarmid," she said, "it looks like I have won the heart of Grania, my betrothed, but I will offer you one more chance." Diarmid replied, "You have killed this boar, and so have earned the affection of Grania. Why offer me another chance?" "Because you are a fine warrior with a fair heart, and as my enemy it pains me to admit this, but if you take my challenge, I will gladly give her to you." Diarmid was unsure and suspect. It was most unusual for Finn to double down after he had already won his prize. "What is this challenge?" asked Diarmid. "I want you to guess the size of this beast, from its snout to its hooves. If your guess is correct, you shall have Grania." Carefully, Diarmid inspected the pig, examining its fearsome nose, estimating and calculating before giving his answer. "It is 10 feet, from its snout to its hooves." Finn smiled and said, "Go measure it then. Stand on its back and walk the distance, and see if it makes up 10 paces." Diarmid could see his beloved Grania stood on the hillside, resplendent in the afternoon sun, but as clearly as he saw her, he could not see Finn's deception. Gladly, he stepped onto the boar's back, and immediately the bristles beneath his feet pierced through the bottom of his boot and into the sole of his foot. He fell from the boar's back, holding onto his leg in pain. Finn laughed and began to walk away. Now, Diarmid could see Finn's deceit clearly. His treachery was plain. It had always been Finn's intention that he should stand atop the slain beast's back and fall like a child in pain in plain sight of Grania. "I believe the challenge is now completed," Finn boasted. "Grania is mine, and you are done here." As he turned to walk away, quickly from the hillside came Grania, a symbol of radiance, though it was not love nor purity she radiated, but anger at Finn's deceitful behaviour. "I do not believe," she cried to both her suitors, "that either of you have deigned to ask me what it is that I want. There is no need for these childish battles so long as I have a will. There is no need for a boar's cry while I have a voice. So here is a challenge of my own for those who'd have my heart. Whichever of you can guess how many barbed bristles stand on this boar's back, shall have my love. Finn and Dermot looked at one another, confused by Grania's sudden interference. Are you sure that this is what you want? Asked Finn, surprised at his betrothed's unusual request. Indeed it is, replied Grania. Dermot bowed his head towards her. So it shall be. These two mortal enemies, Finn and Dermot, stood and stared, calculated and counted, but neither could think of an answer they found satisfying. Finn eventually approached Grania and said, My love, there is no way that we could ever guess how many bristles there are. It is just like asking us to count the stars in the sky. My loves, if you cannot guess, then count. The first to give me the true number shall win my love. But dearest, replied Dermot, we cannot count them without plucking them from the boar. Otherwise we will count the same bristles twice, and surely we will miss others. Grania smiled. My mind is set. Only a man capable of counting the bristles is worthy of winning my heart. Pluck them if you must. Dermot and Finn quickly set to work, but each bristle was so thickly barbed that to pluck any was akin to dragging their fingertips over the blades of knives. Dermot and Finn stood all day wondering how to remove every bristle without drawing more blood. Their fingers throbbed and their brains ached. Still, the heroes could not figure out how to remove the bristles. They cut through every glove, and no knife blade could blunt them. They tried counting as they had done before, but quickly lost count, or confused the numbers in their heads and had to start again. Grania observed from the hillside. The sun fell in the sky, and the shadows in the glen grew longer until it sank beneath the mountains, and night fell. As the light faded, the heroes could not even see the bristles that they struggled with. They turned to call Grania on her hillside, but she was no longer there. For how long she was gone, they could not say. But in her place, they could see a pair of glowing red eyes moving through the dark towards them. And as the creature emerged into the moonlight, it revealed its tusks as big as trees, and the bristles as long as spears. The two heroes paled in the face of this, their latest challenge. They turned to one another and shook hands. Before the giant beast, the mother of the young boar they had killed, had a chance to let out its booming roar, they scarpered off into the night, the mother boar hot on their trails. Back home, tucked up in bed was by the fire in her roundhouse, was Grania. She spared a thought for her eager lovers when she heard their dire shrieking before blowing out the candle by her bedside and drifting to sleep. And so this scene is closed, and so the tale of rivalry continues, as Finn the Bold and his troop of old, and in their wake the son of Duvna the tragic Diarmid, vie for fair Grania's golden heart.